Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, my friends. Welcome pre-market here at SpartanTrading.com. Wednesday morning. Welcome to those of you who are in fact joining us through our live YouTube stream. Well, this is what we do every day, Monday through Friday, as long as the markets are open, and they will not be open on Monday, next Monday. So we have stuff to talk about. So we had some actually pretty good numbers. Abercrombie and Fitch, it was interesting because I saw Nordstrom move before the numbers came out in Abercrombie and Fitch, but Macy's, those are, so that's kind of interesting. As for today, let's make sure we get this up to date. There we go. So let's go back to this week. I don't know why it resets, but it does. And the only reason why I want to go back to the week is I like to see what's going on in Australia. Okay. So they're a leading indicator for me in terms of the health of what's the Asia Pacific rim is going on. Well, we know that things are not doing well in China. Okay. We know that they're going to have to do quantitative easing. We know that there's issues in terms of funding, all kinds of stuff. And we'll see how that goes. But let's take a look here at UK. Inflation rate, a bit larger than expected, larger than expected, larger than expected, larger than expected, better than expected, better than expected. So inflation, PPI cost though, input minus 0.3. And then we have here, but the core, and the core is better, okay? Input, output, retail prices, etc. Right? The UK is special. Now, I'm not going to go through the merits of Brexit or whatever, and I think it was a little bit of, well, I don't want to say misrepresentation, but there was a lot of fear-mongering that went on with that decision-making process, and I'm not so sure they would still agree to it, the citizens of the country, but nothing I can do about that. IFO business, worse, better, worse. The bonds higher, right? And then we have here mortgage back 6.69 higher, higher, higher. Refinance, right? Lower. So this was applications were not as bad, but they were still bad, right? And then we have not much going on for ourselves. We have some auctions, the 2-year, et cetera. And so we have the EIA coming out as well. Okay. And then if you look at yesterday in terms of the crude, way larger draw than expected. But you know what? These crude numbers are so bad. They're almost like some of these employment numbers, how bad they, how inaccurate they, you never know. And we do have OPEC, meeting. You know the narrative I have right now. I want to be long crude. I am long crude. I'm long the physical as well as the refiners, etc. Now keep an eye on gold. All right, gold had the opportunity to crack this week. It's still holding that 1965 level. Okay, that's notable. So I'm slowly starting to take some hedges off on that. Okay, there's no way they're not going to come up with a deal. The question is going to be, and I think Twins was mentioning this multiple times yesterday, is that at what from Peter to Paul, what are they going to take away? And obviously, one of the Democrats' loves, right, is on the healthcare side, cutting costs or whatever. I don't, and that would be an offset payment to other things. I don't know what it's going to look like. I really don't. But, now they're getting serious, which is, okay, this is how it looks. This is for the civics lessons for our overseas members. This is what it looks like in the United States, Civics 101. Okay. Executive legislative branch were the only ones who had this set up globally. And I think there's a reason why we're the only one who have it set up globally. Okay, let's do it. What do we got? We go Palo Alto. I really, really, just out of blue play earnings, but I did actually buy a few calls for next week on Palo Alto, the 205s. See if they get in the money. Should be a nice little pop on them anyways. So here we have Kohl's, right? Petco. This is the one, Abercrombie and Fitch, that got things moving this morning, Macy's, etc. And ta-da, this afternoon we have NVIDIA, Snowflake, oh my goodness gracious, Splunk, UPath, Dollar Tree, Medtronics, what a week. Well, now it really starts. So this is a lot of fun. Okay, so A&F beat and raise guidance. That'll do it, right? P-Lab, Photronics, a lot of, and then Kohl's. And then you see here some of these Express, flowing guidance, Place, flowing guidance, right? See, XPEV, flowing guidance. I don't have any issue with any of this stuff, to be honest with you, but I don't understand why they keep forgetting the narrative that if things are going to be bad and you're going to shit the bed, okay, you really do want to give a clue, okay, to the market. We haven't looked at this. Finally, Cable on board and has give us some timing cycles. Now, this is the SPX, and this is why June is a choppy. Let's be politically, I'll be polite about this. I always use some other strong words, but anyways, these are timing cycles and price cycles. Look at this. Throughout 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, and this is the narrative as to why June is a tough month, because it's all over the place in terms of timing cycles, in terms of price cycles as well. So you have a couple here, right? June 2nd, June 12th. Right. And this is the Reader's Digest version of why this June is a tough month. Let's see what we got going. Luxury stocks trade at a record premium. Okay. The stock rally served my mega caps. We know this. I still think, right? I keep saying this. We got to get, and we started to get that, right? With the high beta names, right? So, I mean, I'll be honest with you. I still am kind of enamored with a lot of these low float retail runners, baby bios, just whatever they're doing. And this actually has consistently made me some really good money, FYI. Okay. Just saying, but I think that continues. I think June is actually going to be a very, 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 very strong month for these types of names. And I don't know so much about the Russell, but if you do a deep dive on these low float, small cap, retail type stuff, right? I think that's going to be a continuation trade. And I think we're going to see a lot more equity. All right, being done in the room. Okay, here we go. Volatility spread suggests calmest markets in over a year. Yeah, I want more data, but so you know the drill here. I mean, I don't know what the catalyst will be, but I've been accumulating, and I said this on Monday, going over everything. It's time to put hedges on. I even started saying this last week. It's time to put hedges on, just because of the stretching of some of these spreads that I look at, and so far so good. I mean, I've got that kind of right now. I have like a 1.5% on UVXY. Now I've got like a 2.5% on FNGD. So I'm just slowly hedging myself along the way. And I've shared all of these things with you, with members here. This is what I do. And now you'll notice I'm not doing as many delta trades because it's choppy and we don't have a linear type move. I have hedges on, and I should have been a little bit more aggressive on the Qs yesterday, but I still don't see any real dramatic move one way or the other, and probably retail, obviously, because of what happened. But I think we have to be a little bit cautious here. Again, US default has surged. Yeah, okay. Well, okay. Oh, no, number one, top dude, 1.7 billion. He's only 40 billion, right? Elon Musk, 2.3 billion. I thought anybody was higher than that, right? So, Francois, okay. Bill Gates, only 440.5 million. Tragic. But anyways, so what goes to Zuckerberg? Okay, number one. Banking, 12. Well, anyways, that's his change here today. He had that kind of, when you, whatever. Canadian households have more debt than those in any other G7 country. Households now owe more than Canadians' entire GDP. The Bank of Canada recently expressed concerns regarding the escalating levels of household debt. Zero gold. Okay. What could go wrong? I mean, but the reality is the debt is a function of housing in Canada. Lack of affordable housing. A lot of these, investments, well, with the houses, the costs and etc. Anyways. Okay. UK's PM, the impact of food inflation is too high. What are you gonna do about it, dude? Mortgage rate actually 6.9 previously. Anyways, not a lot to talk about today. Treasury bill yield curve, we know about that. Eurozone, PMI, manufacturing, services, but this is the way of the world, right? But I mean, especially as we get more and more automated, right? And you got robotics going on and all kinds of stuff. I don't know. Industrial metals sub-index. Yes, I know. I'm well aware of this. S&P has been 7% stronger than investment flows. Okay. What do we got? You know what? National Association of Home Builders. This is just amazing. U.S. unemployment rate, total and labor force. I mean, new listings fell to a second lowest level on record in April. Hey, I don't know. I don't think this is a bad thing, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. What do we got? Ranking returns of major asset class. Can you believe that? Bitcoin. Well, what are you going to do? Right? Let's go back to 2013. That's disingenuous. I can't look at that. NVIDIA. Larger market cap than Berkshire. Okay. Well, this is notable because this can last for a few months and, the drill on that one, right? I think that's fun, right? Anyways, what do we got? What do we got? Pull some LGBTQ items. Okay. My silence speaks volumes, and you know what's going on inside my head. And it's not, I'm very, very angry. Okay. Very, very angry. Oh, U.S. farmland became a battleground in the fight against China. Okay, most Americans favor clean debt ceiling increase. Well, that's interesting. Clean. When was the last time these guys, these yahoos, yahooettes, I don't know, did a clean bill? Doesn't work. Anyway, mayors urged Tim Scott Congress to address racial disparities in home ownership. It's about freaking time. I keep saying this. Okay, revenue among the Democrats drops among Republicans. Well, duh. This is the world we live here in the United States. Cancel markups for spending bill amid debt ceiling talks. Okay. I don't know. What am I going to tell you? Not much to tell you. What is she with our gal Emma? Wall Street Journal, debt ceiling talks going down to the wire over government spending. We know Russian financial major control is cracking. We know. I'm still surprised he's alive. Bank shares are seesawing like meme stocks. Well, this is true too, because they are now meme stocks. Maybe formula makers face FTC, whatever. US-China meetings could give the countries a chance to repair ties. In a Twitter talk with Elon Musk. It's time. We got it. The insanity begins. Choice Hotels seeks to buy Wyndham and Resorts. Budget travel is all about the trade-offs. All right, let's do it. There's nothing really new news to say right here. Now we're in a holding pattern to see what happens and see where money rotates. I still think this Abercrombie and Fitch is notable. I happen to be in Nordstrom. I'm in some Macy's as well. Kohl's as cost cuts pay off, right? Ford, Plug, Pfizer, top trending stocks. So we got some of these guys. Moderna. Oh my God. I'm not selling. I'm not selling. Not selling. Just saying I'm not selling. Rite Aid is moving. So I think this is going to be a fun one for us today, to be honest with you. So anyways, that's what's class going to be on today, friends. Well, I'm going to talk about conviction trades, how you do it, how you add into them and stuff. But as this password, yeah, we know that yesterday, 5 things to know about the stock market. Okay, world's richest person, wealth drops 11 billion in a day. So sad, too bad. Whole share spike. Anyways, flows, let's talk. So we are actually seeing more volume coming in this week than we've seen in a while in terms of stuff. Now, a lot of this happens to be in the money, right? Paper replacement. It's still bullish, but basically 300 in the money. You're raising cash right now, and that's how you would do it. This is basically doing the money calls, right? And then basically sell your stock. Now, this is the issue right now, is that we're seeing a lot of this happening real time, and a lot of these names are get taken down because of the selling that's going on in terms of paper replacement. Okay. So that's what that looks like. So as you can see here, all right, but this is this week. Let's take a peek. Right, so far. So this was Las Vegas Sands, right? 45, right? Cool, 120 plus million, right? And that was in the money paper replacement. So this is how, and this week was the first week we've actually seen this happening to this degree, right? It's fascinating. So here's IWM and stuff like that. Now the volume is picking up because last week, if you look at what happened here, okay, pretty anemic, right? And this is like 176 orders to get to 16 million. NVIDIA was 70. Okay, so you can see lots of trades, right? And not big stuff. So why is this important? The reason why this is important is this should have happened with OpEx last week, and it didn't. So, I'm just talking out loud right now. All right, let's see what these idiots are doing now. The smartest guys in the room, gals in the room. Horse hockey. I'm just saying. This is just horse hockey. All right, so how's it shifting? So this is now staying the same as up. This is going up a quarter basis point. So still factoring in potentially. I mean, look at this, guys, fellas. All right, so it's not as stupid as it was down to 75 basis points, but there's still, 70% thinks we're going to get a 25 to 50 basis point cut. And now we got 3% thinking hike. I don't know where this is coming from. Now, let's be real that in theory, if you look in terms of a measured move, in theory, we should be, if we're going to be in a recession, it'll start in the end of this year into next year. In theory, I still don't think it's going to be the case, but. And the reason why that is because the productivity has offset a lot of things. And normally when you see that, recession productivity just isn't there. Right? So that's the offset, right? So anyways, what do we got? What do we got? What do we got? BDS. Okay. Palantir, this was tied to options, so that's not, and TENB. So what wasn't Airbnb, right? Lyft, and PTC. Okay. Now let's see what we got going on here. The level of incompetency on these analyst side. I'm equal opportunity basher because look, this is, I would be embarrassed to basically post. Okay, I would be embarrassed to post a 24% success rate. Okay, right? Jones Trade. I would be embarrassed to basically shout that out. All right, what do we got? Warby Parker, Dice, Kimco, Petco, BRX. These are all top studs. Tammy, Studette, Danielle out of Wells Fargo, as well as BMO. Autodesk, right? And then we've got a lot of these better than expected, right? So you see today we have a lot of analysts. This is probably a lot, most we've seen in a while. All right, so what do we got here? BTIG, you know, whatever, but it's a 79%. Urban Outfitters, Barclays came out, Adrian, Studette, 72%. Sherwin-Williams, Workday, right? And then you've got, you know, Very Global, Accolade, you know, I mean, we can do the whole thing, but these are the top ones that are coming out, okay? Downgrades, what do we got? Textron, IAQ, Shopify, right? Downgrade from neutral to underperform, okay, but no price change. Agilent, overweight to sector weight, no price change. Yeah, so here you go. This is it. Downgrades. 3 of them basically have higher prices. 3 of them have no change in price. And 1 of them at 2.78%, okay, has a stellar downgrade. Okay, just say. All right, what do we got? Here we go, Brown and Brown, right? Oh, I haven't heard that name in years. All right, next here, energy, 100% going out to July. So utilities, this is a strong, Netflix, strong seasonality, Tesla, BIOS, yeah, healthcare, monster. The list isn't changing much right now, except this top list is. Okay, let's see what we got from these. I mean, this is really what's interesting. So we have a down one here, Yank. I think that was yesterday, and then we have a strong one here. But this is June, okay? So into the first a week of June, everything's strong. Let's bring this back to May, so you can see here. Oh, sorry, yeah, strong. Okay. Not so much, Dow, SPX, and then you've got the Russell. So yesterday was kind of interesting, right? Because we really didn't have a BTFD moment, but it was a shallow pullback. So I'm still really not that concerned, to be honest with you. Just not. And here we have breath. This is, I've never seen this, never ever. In this kind of rally, with such little breath. Well, that's because it's so shallow. This happens maybe in 100 years. This maybe happens like 10 times. I mean, this is rarefied stuff we're looking at right now, and I think it's notable. XLE, okay, there you go. I still like the energy names. I told you that I've been buying for the last few weeks. I told you why I was buying for the last few weeks, because in order to be successful in the commodity markets, I have shown you that it's FIFO, first one in, first one out. You have to see the setup, and the only way you see these setups, friends, is by these spreads that I show you every single day. Okay, there's a method to the madness that started when I did currency crosses back in the late 1970s, early 1980s. And I learned that overseas. And that's how my mind processes things as spreads. Yin against the yang, right? But smart money to money. Yay. Look at that gap. That's huge. Where is it? Large put fine. Okay, so. All right, so this is for last week, right? A little bit of buying coming in, right? This is really fascinating. And the reason why I say this is because the reality is large traders are not all in this market, because normally when you have a rally, right, you would see this. But we've had a rally, but we see this. This is amazing. So this allows the market to go higher. Okay, and small traders, they're bearish up the wazoo. They never, look at this. This is crazy town. So the reality is, when you have all these people build up, right? How does the market go down for any significant thing? Up speculation, going down. Fund flows, not a lot. Seriously, it's so anemic what's going on. I mean, it's really remarkable. So money did come into the Qs, okay? And it came out of this SPY and out of the Dow, right? I don't know. XLF financials. I don't think this is updating. Yeah, no, it's not updating anymore. Okay, I did that. All right, let's see. XLF funds. So you can see your money still continues to come into the XLK. So that in essence is the tech, but it's mainly Apple and Microsoft. This is the problem with a lot of these ETFs, is the weighting issue. And I would hope that they would address that, but I doubt they will. XLY fund flows, money coming in. Okay, not a lot, but so you can see here the volume, on the extension here. So something to think about, right? So in the background, okay, you can see right here, right? Money coming out yesterday, right? And then coming in on Monday. Right? It's really fun, fascinating to watch this stuff. XLU, not much going on, XLE. What could go wrong with that? I love it. So what are one of the rules, right? Commodity rules of engagement. You want to buy when nobody wants to buy. You want to sell when nobody wants to sell, but it has to be like, that's why I'm going to do this for the webinar today, is go over these accumulation setups and stuff like that for conviction trades. Because it's really important how you weight it and what goes on there. So money coming out of healthcare because of, well, you know what? Money still coming into consumer staples. It started on Monday, and now we've got a little bit of, I actually think that will continue. I will still some money coming down. Here's my, XLB, right? No, nothing sexy there. XLI, money coming out. QQQ, money coming in. SPY, money coming out. Dow, that's interesting, money coming in on Monday, but a lot of that had to do with, components, healthcare, transport, stuff like that, right? Don't forget the largest holding in the Dow is UNH. And Lily's in there too, I think. IWM, money coming into it. This is actually fairly fascinating because you wouldn't really think that, right? So that's interesting. I find it interesting. Okay, so let's get to some of the stuff. What do we got? Fascinating, right? Yield curve, right? Continues to invert. So this is just, this is just, we now see the top end of the range and we know what the bottom end of the range is. And this is what it looks like. And you got these guys chopping. This is spectacular. In my lifetime, I never thought I would see this sort of day-to-day range. But this is the present and the future, right? We know this to be true. US, and then you see here Canada rates are up, UK rates are up, and then down across the board. Then obviously Asia Pacific women are down. Okay, here's the 10, right? And you can see here, this is Great Depression and Volcker, and this is where we were, right? And then looks like we're flagging, but it's, I mean, who knows, right? This to me is just the range, top end of the range. You just play the technicals on them. So far, I've been pretty good at saying, hey, now is when you want to take off or you want to hedge, okay? And, I have trimmed back some stuff, but I got hedges on it. I'm not really concerned about it. This is the 310. This is really interesting, and I say this because it never reclaimed this extension that goes back to here, which is 2012. So that's a little bit, concerning to me. It didn't hold, right? You can see here, we did, and then we broke this month. And then remember, this is a crazy candle. So those of you keeping score, I mean, seriously, I mean, I don't know, it's a crazy candle. Fed funds, here you go, you know the drill on that one. Let's look at the these models, recession probability models that come out, okay? So, so this is, I hate to say this, friends, but this is mathematics, crunching all the different factors. And the reason why I say this is because this goes all the way back to 1968 as a backtest. Okay, so here we are. So this is the level right here when it starts to get fascinating, and you can see that. This is it right here, right here. So now, don't forget, this whole construct, right, is predicated on a lot of the quote unquote smart peeps, basically looking for negative GDP. But in reality, the nowcast out of Atlanta is looking for positive. So clearly, and that's why this is also driving some of the hawkish talk also from the Fed. Okay, they do look at this GDP now index, but hey, we're not there. We're just literally not there. Okay, so you can see that. I mean, we're just not there. We'll get the numbers. Let's see if they actually did print out. Normally it prints out today in terms of the balance sheet. Let's see what it says. All right, so May 17th, right? Right, so that was last week. So no, but you can see it continues to go up. So the balance sheet is going up, right? So they have all this chatter and they're actually adding to the balance sheet to provide liquidity. All right, so that's kind of interesting, right? All right, German, let's look at it, 6 months, 10-year. Okay, cool. Still here. Well, I mean, rates are still really low, you know, in Germany, right? So China, they have to do this in the interest rate side. This shows you how bad things are in China right now. Okay. And here's the Chinese yuan. Just weakening that. They can't go too far with that for foreign direct investments. But this is the catalyst to get people to leave your country. Right? Commodities. Let's do it. So this is the thing I'm shouting out right now. Gold held where it needed to hold. So I said yesterday and the day before, I'm starting to trim back, okay, my hedges, right? So what does that look like now? So if you look at my nugget position, okay, I'm now 3-to-1 on that one, on my hedge. So a 3 nugget to 1 dust, dust, okay? Okay, 3-to-1. That's how where I am right now. So that's pretty aggressive right now. And then what I'll do is if we break that 1957, which actually my birth year, that's a nice flow, right? Then I'll do something else. So here we go. Green. This is it. Lumber. Every single day lumber's gone up for a while now. Okay, that's a big deal. Okay. Orange juice, this is huge. Okay. So anyways, like I say, this is what commodity, it's whack-a-mole. You never know what's going to pop up, what's going to be up, what's going to be down. You just don't know. All right, here's DBC. Still looking heavy, but its time is not here yet. All right, so ta-da, nailed it. Now we're actually at a key pivot here. So what does that mean for me? I'm watching it, and I think I might take off some of my KLD, okay? But the KLD is actually against the UCO, so I got two things going on. So I'm just gonna kind of mind my business right now. So here's the USO-UNG. So fascinating, right? So we got this, right? Let's look at it on the weekly, right? So reversion to the mean on the weekly. Now we're starting to go, but still has work to be done. You can see this. I still think food's going higher. I'm all in. You know that. I've just been adding, I don't care. Now, here it is at the 10 EMA. This is a big deal. Okay, so we have to actually on a weekly reclaim it. Or else this is another top. Okay, so this is what it looks like. And we do have a pivot point here. You can see that. Okay, so we'll see how that plays out. Gold. Let's talk. 1965. What was the low this week? Was 1954. Yeah. Well, we got a double bottom, double top, you know the drill. Let's do it. Futures down, 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 down. VIX. I'm really starting to make money on this UVXY. So, and you know me. I accumulate this one. Say that's what I'm going to show on the Moderna. The same stuff I did. I'm now up over 11%. I own Moderna from 127.61. I'm not selling that. I don't care. Whatever. But I sold half. Okay. So I'm not going to sell the rest. Overseas, everything's down, 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 nifty 50, you name it, it's down, 8 shares are down, whatever. DAX, what do we got? Okay, so we're here, so I have to keep an eye on this because I have to buy DAX puts. FTSE, don't forget, this is a function of commodities, heavily weighted. FAS, I might even do this, I don't know yet, I haven't decided yet. EFA, same thing, a little bit of a double top, but I just don't think it's going to be much. I think it's going to be a shallow pullback. Now, I may be totally wrong on that one, but Nikkei, yeah. I actually may buy some puts on this. This is crazy. I know. Are you with me there, Citrini, if you're in? KWEB coming down, finally broke this support level here. Key pivot. Next leg down coming 24.30. I'm in Yang. You know, I like to play it that way. Okay. So for the year, it's down, but from October, excuse me. Well, where we bought is still up, but notable, right? Here we go. All right, so we're breaking the 78.6%. This is the mid of the, as you can see here, the channel, right? We have this starting to turn up. I think we're going to get into an event like this. And that would be China basically shitting the bed. Okay. So am I in BABA? Yeah, but my hedges are larger than my position in BABA. So let's say I'm losing, 1% in BABA, but I'm making on the offset 3% in Yang. Okay, I'll take it. Just say, you gotta know how to do these things, friends. All right, his SPY against the CQQQ-A2. So a lot of these basically are telling us the same thing. IWM against the CQQ. Now this is really interesting. Okay, so if this starts to move, then right, we're getting in a really meaningful decline. Bobalicious against CQQQ. This is actually kind of holding up okay, right? So I would expect, to be honest with you, on this one, I would actually think that, and this is why I have my Yang on, but I'm still my, in his Baidu rejection.
Already Beth ready to pop on whenever here. Thank you so much, guys. Morning, what's going on? Let me just pop up the screen share here. Get right into it. If you guys are new to chat, haven't already done so, make sure to click on that Discord link that's emailed to you. You're going to pop in chat. It's going to look something a little bit like this. Oh, let me just grab that. Where are you? There you go. Something a little bit like this. First area to go to, guys, when you do pop in, click on that disclaimer section, give it a read, as well as go to the new to chat information section, scroll to the very, very top. Top of the section, you got a link to the disclaimer as well as this bolded risk reward section. Super important to understand both in regards to risk reward, guys. Most important ratio in trading. So certainly worth checking that out. Continue to scroll down. We have 75. This chat works, breaks down all these channels work on the left-hand side, so you can properly navigate the chat throughout the day. That is important in order to be looking. Continue to scroll down. We have how to read alerts on the options and equity side, breaking down how to read alerts on both sides. Below this, we have the options rules that we like to use every single day, Monday to Thursday. in regards to controlling risk, scaling in, scaling out, trading different price contracts, etc., etc. SPX rules below that for the SPX ideas used every single day. Important to understand those as well. Continue to scroll down. We have the any with a small account less than 10K breaking down. If you have a smaller account less than 10K, here's some rules information you can put in place. You can better chance of managing growing that account, in our opinion. And lastly, how to pick ideas from an options or equity perspective below this. Overlay your own criteria on top of the ideas presented, and then you're left with what makes sense for you to trade. You should be doing this with everything that you're looking at, though, in the trading environment, in any trading environment. Sorry. Lastly, high conviction small account areas. I've been doing credit spreads in that area every single day. So you can, get your daily ROI to high probability for what the chat costs. If you want, just take 1 or 2 contracts and you'll get it. All righty, pre-market tickers on watch. What do we got going on today? Couple things, some nice gaps. So market's gapping down a little bit. Tesla's gapping down with it. PNW gapping up on earnings. Rita, there's gapping up on a slate. Well, there's the Seeking Alpha article. Nothing really there. On the gap up, it's kind of up on air anyways. Into gapping down on earnings. SRPT stock falls on delay of FDA review of the gene therapy, and then GCT gapping up on earnings and getting a retail squeeze as well this pre-market. Let's take a look at these names from a technical standpoint intraday. So first two we're going to be looking at today going to be that Tesla and going to be that that PANW. But before we do that, I just want to briefly let's just take a look at the SPY, guys, and we're going to talk about this a little bit more in depth in just a second. But just so we're all on the same page here, what do we got? We do have the break of EMA support on the daily. We talked about that yesterday, right before the close there. We got the break of the uptrend on the daily as well. So that's a big level. And if we get continuation today, we probably will get confirmation. And if that's the case, we tend to go to the 50 EMA every single time we get confirmation of the 13 EMA break. So it's going to be whether or not the 13 EMA is reclaimed today or not. If it reclaims, yeah, you can bounce back up nicely. We've done it a few times. If it breaks, you tend to hit that 50 EMA. So let's see what happens in that regard. All right, now let's go through the names, individual names we're looking at today. So Tesla, PNW, guys, first two we're looking at. So let's have a look. So Tesla, a little bit of a gap down there. Nothing too crazy. Actually had a pretty good move yesterday, a little slight extension that's filled right now in the pre-market. Pivot to the upside today is going to be 183.80. This level is able to hold 189.39. Will be tested if that level breaks. We have room for further continuation to 193.19. Unable to hold 175.98, 172.30 downside leading bullish neutral if that pivot point is able to hold. So just filling a gap extension right now on that Tesla. Let's take a look at PANW. So earnings were decent. It didn't really move that much compared to its implied volatility. I think it was about 13 points. So that's pretty interesting. We may get an actual decent move in this thing in the market during the market hours because of that. We'll wait and see, of course. Pivot to the upside today is going to be the 198.74 level, holds 201.60, 203.55, unable to hold 196.14 to 193.14 on the downside, leading bullish neutral. Looking for a continuation push up to the upside today. I'd be leaning actually just bullish. I think it can actually push pretty decently. We'll see what happens in that regard, of course, but that's Tesla, that's PANW. All right, let's take a look at the next two guys, Arita and Into. Rita may be up on the SRPT delay. I just don't know why I didn't think of that to now, but I think that actually is why it's up. Okay, let's take a look at this Rita. Pivot to the upside today. 86, 84 level holds 90, 67, 93, 60. Unable to hold. We look for a pullback towards 83.01 to 80.26 on the downside, leaning bullish. We're looking for a continuation push to the upside today if that pivot point is able to hold on Rita. Let's take a look at Into, guys. Into pivot upside today, or downside, I should say, is going to be, so 425. Let's get that 50 MA there. Let's get some range levels. Okay. For some reason I thought it was much lower than what it was, but it isn't. 430.54 pivot to the upside today. Levels able to hold 440 to 448.10. Unable to hold 419.44 to 413.43 on the downside, leaning bearish. Looking for continuation lower if that pivot point is unable to hold. That's Into, that is Rita. Let's take a look at SRPT and GCT. All right, 123.13, guys, pivot to the downside today. This level is unable to hold. We have room towards 119.40, 117.03, able to hold 126.06, 128.20, or 128.75. On the upside will be tested. Over on SRPT, going to be leaning bearish neutral, looking for continuation lowered if that pivot point is unable to hold. That's SRPT. Let's take a look at the GCT. Whoops, I accidentally screenshot just one there. GCT, guys, breaking out, pushing here, squeezing. This is a former runner, as we know. $10.09 pivot level holds 12.04. That level breaks. We got room for continuation into the 13.53. Unable to hold 8.67, 7.03 downside, leaning bullish neutral. Looking for a continuation push to the upside today if that pivot point is able to hold. And that is SRPT, and that is GCT. All right, let's take a look at the spine of the FANG. So we talked about this already, guys, but the market did break the uptrend on the daily. It is below EMA support and a little bit heavy looking. Definitely going to be leaning bearish neutral. Pivots can be 413.69. Unable to hold 411.63, 410.39. Able to hold 415.36 to 417.65 on the upside. Overall, going to be leaning bearish right now on the SPY. Looks like we may want to come in and retest this bottom end range in the short term, which I wouldn't be super shocked to see. It's all going to be whether or not that pivot is reclaimed early on today. If it isn't, then yeah, we get continuation lower. That's the SPY. Let's take a look at the rest of the FANG here. Okay, so that's the SPY. Let's take a look at Apple. $170.92 level is able to hold 172.45, 174.27. Unable to hold 169.86 to 168.23 on the downside. Going to be leaning bearish, looking for continuation lower if that pivot point is unable to hold. Sorry. That's Apple. Let's take a look at Amazon. So Amazon, a little bit of a pullback flag on the daily. I think Amazon actually is holding up fine. Great relative strength today. 116 19 pivots. We got to get another level here. There's got to be something. And there is. That level breaks 118.54. Unable to hold. We look for last day's low. 113.78 to 12.49 downside leaning bullish. We're looking for a continuation push to the upside today. That's Amazon. Let's take a look at Netflix. Okay. 352.42 pivot to the downside today, unable to hold 345.94, 339.22, able to hold 360.31, 364.33 upside leaning bearish neutral, looking for continuation lower if that pivot point is unable to hold. That's Netflix. Let's take a look at Meta. All right, Meta guys, pivot to the downside today, 244.90. Levels unable to hold, 240.49, 235.91, able to hold, 247.83, 251.62, kind of stuck in this little range here. I don't mind the Meta chart. I'd be leaning more on the bullish side today. Looking for a little bit of a hold to support grind higher. We'll see what happens in that regard, but I don't think it's going to have big range either way. I think it's just stuck in this little tight area for now. Doing a pretty decent job of holding up that weekly range breakout area. We'll see what happens today, though. Of course, Google. So coming off its little movement here. So 122.50, 122.25 pivot to the downside today. Levels able to hold 124.63, 126.46, unable to hold 120.63, 118.81. Downside leaning bearish neutral, looking for a continuation pull to the downside today if that pivot point is unable to hold. That's Google. Let's take a look at the VIX QS IWM. $19.31 pivot level holds 20.47, unable to hold 18.55, 17.80, leaning not any direction, but watching for direction on the SPY using that VIX as we always do, right? Screenshot that bad boy. Let's go on to the Qs. And you can see the VIX is slightly extended above the 50 MA there. It does tend to fill as extensions, so I think that's notable to the upside at least, right? QQQ. All right, 331.62 pivot, levels unable to hold, 329.03, 326.43. Able to hold, we have room for continuation higher. into 324.22, 337.93 on the upside. On the Qs, going to be leaning on the kind of the bullish neutral side. I want to see if it can hold the support, get a little bit of a push higher. Qs have been a lot stronger than the SPY and the S&P, so we'll see what happens there. It's all about tackle with these guys, right? Big cap tech, that is. That's Qs. Let's take a look at the SPX. Last but not least, and I love to do this on the daily chart because you can see it a lot more clearly. And again, you have a break of the daily support. Let's get some levels. That's probably okay. But I do want this one right there. So you can use 41.36 as your pivot to the downside today, in my opinion. Level is unable to hold 41.18. If that level breaks, I got room towards the 41.01. Able to hold 41.57, and that level breaks. 41.80 on the upside. Overall, going to be leading bearish if that pivot point is unable to hold, in my opinion, on SPX. So that's the SPY, that's the FANG. Those are the individual names that we're looking at today, guys. Going to go ahead and pass it over to South Beach while I type up the pre-market action plan, and I will talk to you shortly. South Beach, if you're ready, she's all yours, my friend.
All right, buddy. How are you guys? Well, I'm a little better than yesterday. At least I slept. Let's see what we got today. All right. Let's look at markets a little sloppy. First, before we do anything, let's just look at the SPYs and the Qs like we do. Okay. The concerning thing on the SPYs, guys, is they just can't get, if you look at the weekly chart, if you'd indulge me, you can see that that's been a really formidable resistance level. It just cannot get through there. So it's in a tight range. I guess it could break either way. I have no idea. Technically, it's still bullish and there's decent support. I just like it, it's been a while since it could get through that 100-week, and I'm watching that pretty closely. That's that one. On the Qs, which is technically a prettier picture, on the weekly, it looks perfect. Okay, it came in yesterday, but that's how it goes. But technicals in this chart, very bullish. So SPY's not as much, Qs pretty bullish, and that's that. Let's look at the bond market this morning, and we see the 10-year flat, 368, but that's a move up off the bottom, right? So kind of, if you looked at the complete range since the year began, with a high of like 405 and a low of 325, it's kind of sort of right smack in the middle, right? That is very different than what we're seeing on the short end of the curve, right? First of all, the spread is what, 330, 430, about 62, 63, so a little higher than we've seen. But, the short end of the curve just keeps moving up. 511 on the 1 year, 540 on the 6 month. Maybe it's because no matter what happens with this whole shebang with the, debt ceiling and all that nonsense, they're going to need to borrow a lot of money. And maybe it's being reflected in the short end. I don't know. But it appears as though that chart is just looks like higher yields just keep coming on, and do I think the market's going to return 5.3% this year? Well, I didn't think it would be up as much as it is for starters, but when I look at the market, I look at the SPYs, not so much the Qs, and I think that's a fairly tall hurdle. Risk-free 5.3. I think that's probably a very big challenge. If you look at London today, their short end of the curve is absolutely going bonkers. All right. Their 10 years basically only up 0.06. So they're at 422 versus our 368. So yields are a lot higher. But like if you look at their short end of the curve, the 6 month is up 14 basis points. The 1 year is up 25 basis points. The 2 years up 22 basis points. That's today. Those are gigantic moves in the bond market. Okay, gigantic. So, that's a real challenge. You look over in Germany, the bond market's sleepy, not much going on, and that's the rest of the EU is kind of sort of like that. All right, so that's that. And I think New Zealand raised their prime rate by a quarter to 5.5 or something like that. Commodity wise, we got oil creeping back up, but it's only $74. 80 is my line in the sand, All right, natural gas kind of ho-hum. not a whole lot going on there. We got these storage issues. You had that rally last week on storage numbers and right back, nothing, kind of quiet after that, right? Gold is up a little bit, probably dollar weakness. We'll see. Copper. There's a lot of talk about copper getting smashed. We'll talk about it in a minute, but that market has gotten really crushed. 4.25 to 360 in a hurry. So big move in copper over the last, 3 or 4 months. Agriculture commodities are quiet, basically trading low end of ranges, more or less. And currency, dollars mixed against North America. Okay, up against the yen. Chinese currency is up at 705. Euros back to 107, pound 124. So dollar's been somewhat stronger than some of these currencies. Bitcoin had that amazing run. Now it's kind of backing and filling, down 500, which is 1.8%. Ethereum down 1.9%. And Solana's down almost 3%, 1945. And let's look at the foreign markets. Okay, FTSE's down 2%. DAX is down. They're both down slightly shy of 2%. Okay, CAC, same thing. Nikkei down 1, China down 1, Hong Kong just shy of 2% as well, and Taiwan is basically flat. So there's your backdrop. Okay, interesting. Market softening up here. Okay, banks and Fed. So we have Fed minutes are coming out next week. That should be interesting. See what they have to say. There's one Fed governor speaking today. And that's the banks and the Fed. China, Russia will circle back to. Oil market, we discussed. Crypto, we discussed. Mr. Market yesterday. It was more of an individual name kind of day. Isn't so much group rotation like it's been, But what did we have? We had the banks were strong. Excuse me. On the short side, we had retail, which will flip-flop today for sure. We had China was soft. We had semi-softness, FANG, high PE tech, restaurants, and consumer non-durables. Okay. Based on retail earnings today, we may see some of these consumer stocks that have been soft, like the restaurants. I'm not sure, but we'll see, and some of these retailers, which if we look at Kohl's, that's a real shock to me. But you do have ones that shit the bed like Place, so who knows? All right, anyway, that was Mr. Market. And what's working, I think, is looking for individual names rather than group rotation and looking for, relative strength and weakness. That's kind of so what's been working for me. All right, what else do we have? We have the Fed minutes. Debt ceiling is the issue of the day, right? No deal. Then one guy was saying no planned meeting today, and then I read somewhere else that they do have a meeting today. So who knows? But these guys are, holding their ground as long as they can. This is not unusual. How it plays out, we'll see. They're going to come to some resolution. Maybe they have to kick the can down the road and put a patch on, on things for a couple of weeks while they continue to negotiate. We'll see. But, this is typical of what happens in these debt things. So we'll see. What else we have? McCarthy. What is he doing? He's deciding whether to, have the House of Reps hang out in DC over the Memorial Day weekend. No decision made on that. I guess it would have something to do with how close they become in a deal in the next couple of days. All right. Some guys making an argument that even if a deal is raised, yields are going to go up because either way, they're going to need more money to fund. I think that kind of people know that already. So I don't know if that's the answer, but that's what Bloomberg is reporting this morning. Okay. Target pulled some of their, what do they call it? Pride concessions or whatever in the store. And they said they had threats to employees and all this other stuff. It seems to me that the pendulum has swung very far in a direction, and now it's kind of reverting back a little bit. We'll see how it plays out. I'm thinking with the election and everything, people are getting more vocal. Wherever you stand on it really doesn't matter. Okay. It's just an observation. Okay. I'm not coming out on either side, and I will not come out on either side. But that's what's going on. So you have the Bud Light, now you have Target. Jamie Dimon, things are going to get worse for banks. He always seems lately to have put a wet blanket on things. So is he seeing something we don't see? Well, he is the smartest guy in the room, in my opinion. So I pay attention to what he says. So I see these banks are trading down a little bit, even with the Pac West stuff, which was kind of positive. DeSantis announced will announce he's running for president on Twitter with Elon Musk. So I guess Musk is backing him. And Trump has this thing on March 24th, okay, about a criminal trial. If he loses that trial, guys, he can't run for president, okay? You can't run for president when you're guilty of a felony, no matter how you slice it. So this could be the beginning of the end of Donald Trump. Some people jump for joy, some people not so much. But it should be interesting, that's for sure. Okay. And it's going to be in New York, where they hate him. So that may have something to do with it. Copper, this is the lowest it's been since November, and the biggest decline in a month since June of 22. And they're claiming that it's because of China's recovery is stalling. And now, they have that COVID thing picking up its ugly head over there. So we have that. Goldman CEO says recession, highly likely. I agree. But it sure doesn't feel that way when you see these companies report. Mortgage demand down 4% last week, 30% year over year. I told you about New Zealand. Netflix is that password sharing crackdown. Well, they're focusing on the US now. So we'll see how that plays out. All right. Putin is saying Russia is going through difficult times. No path to peace with Ukraine. Ukraine is saying that Russia is using their nuclear reactor. They're militarizing it, which would be typical of the Russians. And Xi is saying that China and Russia should upgrade economic cooperation. This is probably a deal for convenience. China needs their oil and other minerals, right? Because they don't have shit, and they can sell the crap they make to the Russians. So it kind of fits their needs, right? Black Sea grain deal. This hasn't been a ship in 4 days. I don't know if that's by intent or what have you, but that's notable. Ed Hyman is out again today saying the Fed should pause. Remember back a few weeks ago, he was looking for a hard landing. He is special. That guy is always, I don't remember him being wrong about anything. And London workforce is now working less than half a week in the office. So they kind of have the same situation we have, I should say. And that doesn't bode well for office REITs. That's for damn sure. Okay, that's a real problem. And actually, there was a guy from this hedge fund called Landon Buildings. I don't know if you guys have heard of them. They just do real estate. These guys are really, really good. And he was saying these office REITs are just a freaking mess. And it's not going to get any better. So just FYI there. Okay, individual names. So we had earnings last night and a bunch of names. Let's look at the winners, right? We have PANW, Urban Outfitters, surprised by that. Kohl's, surprised by that, for sure. Abercrombie and Fitch, surprised by that. I did not think these guys were doing as the stocks were telling you they weren't doing well. And yet here we go. So stocks were wrong. Okay, that's why you don't hold stocks into earnings, guys. If I would have made a bet, I would have bet bad and I would have lost. So that's why I don't play that game. Toll was pretty good. That stock's up a bone. FUTO, TU, PLAB, and DY, all good. Moderna, continuation from yesterday, down, it was up a little more a few minutes ago. They say China COVID infections are helping. I don't know what's going on there, but they have a lot of things in the hopper. If they, they're trying to do a cancer vaccine, these guys are cutting edge. I mean, I think this is a great company. FHN had positive upgrade from somebody or other. I think it was Jeffries. PacWest sold a real estate lending unit. Whenever one of these guys sells a division, a company on the balls of its ass, the guy that bought it is stealing it. Unfortunately, in this case, it's a private company and we can't invest in it. UTRS has patent news, some momentum movers, EEIQ and EFAB. APGN made an acquisition. It's up on that. And Retta is up because this PTCT, who was making a drug that would compete with Retta's drug, didn't meet primary endpoints. I see this GCT is up. I did not see news in that, guys, and I looked. But if any of you guys know what's going on, you can just write it in the chat because I could not find it. Okay. On the short side, we had this XPIV, right, which is acted okay. It's one of these Chinese auto companies, right? ADI missed. It's probably affecting a lot of these semiconductors, which are pretty soft this morning. Intuit missed. Woof. Now you had all these retailers make their numbers. Now Children's Place missed. That's the second bad miss in a row for these guys. Shoe Carnival missed. Carmat, they sell cars. CRMT got walloped. NEWR no good. LSTR no good. And two of my favorite companies are the Canadian banks, BMO and BNS. They both missed. Okay, Baba is cutting 7% of their workforce in cloud computing. Stock's a complete pig. Meta, another round of layoffs. SRPT's down a bunch, some kind of delay in approval for their MS drug. I don't think it's I don't think it's like forever. It's like a few weeks or something like that. PTCT, I told you, missed there. There's been offerings in HASI, NVTS, and COCO, and GNL's down on an acquisition. Okay, the odds, 0% increase in rates, 64%, a quarter point is 36%. And tonight we got a bunch of earnings. NVIDIA's tonight, Snow is tonight, Splunk, APPS, Path, American Eagle, and Guess. And tomorrow we got Dollar Tree, Best Buy, Medtronic, CM, Burlington, RL, and TD. I bought a put spread in BBY that I'm probably going to get out of based on the strength in some of these retailers. Although BBY, I don't know. Who's buying TV sets? I don't know. Anyway, that's his reporting in that. Research-wise, let's see. Evercore likes STEM, 11 target stocks, $4. NVIDIA, Citibank raises the target to 363. ANET added to US 1 list at Bank America. Mizuho likes Amazon and Microsoft. Barclays raised their targets in the home builders across the board. Is that right, Raj? You know what I think of Chinese stocks. This is no surprise. I'm not going to get off that bandwagon until Xi leaves, and I don't think he's going anywhere fast. What else do we have? That's really it. Syndicate, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 deals. Coco, ECVT, PHAT, Renaissance Re, and DRMA. The market. So if it's soft and I see tech acting crappy, I'm going to gravitate towards the stocks that have been shitty lately, which would be the drugs and the consumer non-durables. I expect more, when rates keep creeping up, that can't be good for these high PE techs. So I think right now they're really, trying to swim upstream with these higher rates. Same goes true with the FANG stocks, but to a lesser degree. I think retail people are going to reassess how bad things really are there. Are they really as bad as people think with all these earnings being better? So I'm going to be watching that for the long side. And I think with oil up $1.40, you may get a really good bounce in these stocks. That's how I'm thinking before the market opens, and we'll see how it plays out. I'm out of time. I'm going to pass it to Spartan, and let's have a good day, guys. Spartan, it's all yours.
Hey guys, what's going on? Sorry, I didn't even realize my mic was on. I was trying to find the Zoom thing. Alrighty, so if you guys are new to chat and haven't already done so, make sure to click on the Discord link that's emailed to you. Pop in a chat to look something a little bit like this. First area to go to when you guys do pop in. Disclaimer section, click on that, give it a read, as well as go to the new to chat information section and scroll to the very, very top. Top of the section, you got a link to the disclaimer as well as this bulleted risk reward section. Super important to understand both. If you guys are unfamiliar with risk reward, most important ratio in trading, in my opinion. And just from a mathematical perspective, it's pretty easy to see that it is. If you go through the section that links to, risk reward videos, risk reward profiles, which you can use, set up to you and your account. You just decide whatever makes sense. Risk reward calculator. So give you a whole bunch of tools that you can use to actually apply it, understand it, and then use it on the go. Continue to scroll down. We have summary of how this chat works, breaks all these channels work on the left-hand side. So you can probably navigate the chat throughout the day. Important to know where to be looking. Continue to scroll down. How to read alerts on the options and equity side. Break it down. How to read alerts on both sides. Pretty straightforward. Options rules that were used every single day on the options ideas right here. SPX rules on the SPX ideas used right here. Continue to scroll down with anyone with a small account less than 10K breaking down. If you do have a smaller account less than 10K, here's some rules, information, discipline you can put in place so you can better manage your account. How to pick ideas from an options or equity perspective below that. And lastly, high conviction small account trades post in that area. We're doing credit spreads every single day and then other trades when they make sense. But those credit spreads are constant and they are, high probability and they do work and add up in the end. Pre-market tickers on watch. What we got going on today? Everything's posted. If you're watching the YouTube stream, guys, you can certainly just pause this and give it a read. Right there. You can see all the charts are posted as well. And then we have all these charts here. And then, of course, Tesla, PNW, REITA into SRPT, GCT. If you look at the option section, same thing on the option side. There's your different options with all the support resistance levels we talked about. Cool. All right. Pre-market tickers on watch. What do we got going on today? Tesla, PNW, REITA into SRPT, GCT. Tesla gapping up and down in sympathy with the market. PNW gapping up on earnings. REITA gapping up on an SA article. I think it's gapping up in sympathy with SRPT. Pretty sure. Into gapping down on earnings. GCT gapping up on earnings as well. Let's take a look at these names from a technical perspective. Intraday, first two we're looking at today, guys, is going to be that Tesla and PANW. So let's have a look. So Tesla's actually just filling a gap on the daily, which I don't mind this chart. Pivot to the upside today is going to be the 183.80 level holds. We have room for continuation towards that 189.70 area to 193.19. Unable to hold 175.98, 117.30 downside leaning bullish neutral there. PANW 198.74 pivot level holds 201.60, 203.55. Unable to hold 106.14, 193.14. And I think I'm leaning bullish on this one. I think we can get a nice push continuation on that name to the upside. Let's take a look at REITA and into. REITA pivot upside today is going to be the 86.84 level holds 90.67, 93.60, unable to hold 83.01, 80.26 on the downside leaning bullish neutral, looking for a continuation push higher if that pivot point can hold into 430.54 level holds for 40.01, 448.10, unable to hold 419.44, 413.43 downside, leaning bullish neutral on that name. If we can get back above that pivot, if we can't, then of course we're going to be selling back off. So that 50 MA is the big level to reclaim there. Take a look at SRPT and GCT. So SRPT is actually getting that bounce already. We talked about this. So pivot to the downside today is going to be that 123.13 spot level holds 126.06, 128.75, 131.97, and then now the next resistance is 135.40. Unable to hold 119.40, 117.03, and on the SRPT, I guess leaning bullish neutral because the pivot's holding, right? It's a little bit of a change there. If it broke the pivot, it'd be bearish. 10.09 GCT pivot level holds 12.04, 13.53, unable to hold 8.67, 7.03 downside, leaning on the bullish neutral side if the pivot point's able to hold as well there. Let's take a look at the Spine Fang. I don't know why that was so hard for me to say there? There we go. Okay. Okay. All right. I had to just take a position on something. All right, guys. SPY. So we did break the uptrend. We did break EMA support. Let's flip this back to the daily chart as it's the best thing you can look at. 413.69 pivot to the downside today, unable to hold 411.63, 410.39, able to hold 415.36 to 417.65, leaning bearish neutral. Let's take a look at Apple. Pivot to the downside today, 170.92, unable to hold 169.86, 168.23, able to hold 172.45 to 174.27 on the upside. Let's take a look at Amazon. Pivot to the upside today, guys, is going to be the 116.19 level holds, 118.54 to 120.74, unable to hold 113.78. 112.40 on the downside. Going to be leaning bullish neutral there. Let's take a look at Netflix. Pivot to the downside today. Going to be the 352.42, unable to hold 345.94, 339.22, able to hold 360.31, 364.33, leaning bearish neutral there. Let's take a look at Meta. Pivot to the downside today is going to be the 244.90, unable to hold 240.49, 235.91, able to hold 247.83, 251.92 on the upside. Going to be leaning on the bearish neutral side today. Well, I guess I'm kind of indifferent, actually. I'm pretty neutral on this one. Let's take a look at Google. Pivot to the downside, 122.25, unable to hold 120.63, 118.81, able to hold 124.63, 126.46 on the upside. Going to be leading bearish neutral there. Let's take a look at the VIX QZWM. VIX pivot is going to be the 1931 level holds 2047, unable to hold 1855, 1780, not leaning any particular direction there, but watching the VIX for direction on the market. QQQs pulling back a little bit. It's actually extended on the weekly chart. That gap fill area is around 329.50. So I could see it getting to that area pretty quickly though. The gate 331.62 pivot to the downside, unable to hold 329.03, 326.43, unable to hold, or sorry, able to hold 334.22 to 337.93. Going to be looking for a gap fill there on the weekly. And then I think we can actually bounce. SPX. So I'm leaning bearish on most stuff out the gate. Actually, unless, pivots are reclaimed. Just, looking at the technicals. And then SPX uptrend break, EMA support break, 41.36 pivot to the downside, unable to hold 41.18 to 41.01, able to hold 41.57, 41.80 upside, leaning bearish neutral at the gate, like I said. So that's a SPY, it's a FANG. Those are the individual names that we're looking at today, guys. And we'll go from there. Thanks for popping into the YouTube stream, my friends. You can go to